Hello, fellow comic book enjoyers. This is Comics with Friends, the bi-weekly podcast where two best buds get together, read a comic, and maybe one of us likes it, maybe the other one doesn't. It's a big mystery, especially with the character we're covering today. Of course, we are covering one of my favorite superheroes ever in celebration of the new movie coming out soon, Superman. Specifically, Superman Up in the Sky by Tom King and Andy Kubert. I am your host, Ethan, joined by my best bud and co-host, Mason. What's up, bud?
Not much. I'm excited to get back from an unintended hiatus of doing this, and I think I teased you a little bit of how I felt about this book last night.
Yeah, while we were playing games.
Yeah, and I think you'll be surprised to hear what I have to say.
Really? I guess we'll go ahead and we'll hear each other's just base feelings on the story. I'll go very quick.
I was gonna say for suspense sake, English. It's early. You go first.
Yeah, I love this story. This is probably top 3 favorite Superman stories ever written. It perfectly encapsulates the character and everything he represents in not just his sphere of the DC universe, but also what superheroes are supposed to represent in general.
Yeah.
And I think this story is just, it's really heartwarming. It speaks to me on a level that like a lot of other stories don't really do. And it's crazy because the plot is really simple.
Yeah.
Like it is, like you could hand this book to anyone and they'd be able to get through it.
Okay.
That's basically my opinion.
Okay. For my opinion.
Okay, here we go.
I absolutely... I like this, actually. This was actually really good.
Yeah.
You just assumed when I was like, I'll tell you how I feel about it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
You just assumed I hated it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm not a Superman fan. Like, this new movie coming out, I'm sure it's going to be good, but like...
Not excited.
It's just one of those characters that just doesn't appeal to me. I mean, like, I don't know if this is a bad like example, but to me, Superman's kind of like Captain America in the sense that like, especially nowadays, Captain America is super iconic, and even with the MCU and stuff, like,
He's a symbol.
Yeah, he was never a character that I was like, oh my God, Captain America, he's amazing. He's the best, you know, all this stuff. And it's kind of, I put it like, I like Superman, but I don't like him solo, if that makes it like any sense.
You like him being elevated by other characters.
Yeah.
By other superheroes.
Yeah. And, but this genuinely, like, I enjoyed this. There was a little bit of where I was like, huh, because the way they do the different issues, like each issue, you're already kind of like semi in the middle of something on his journey.
And they kind of go back and tell you how it happened.
Yeah. And it took me a second after I think like the first like issue 2 and 3 to realize that was what was happening. And I was like, oh, okay, like this is the trend, the format that they're doing for these issues. So that's like the only real gripe that I had for this book. I thought the art was well done, which, you know, I'm a pretty big stickler when it comes to the art and stuff like that.
I figured you were gonna like the art because I don't know if you remember, Andy Kubert actually did another story we covered, Batman versus Predator, which we both really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And the big thing about that book was the art.
Yeah.
We both thought the art was amazing.
I did like the art a lot. I'm not gonna lie, this is a bit of a spoiler for the end of the book, but I in the last like couple panels, I'm not gonna lie, I had a little bit of tears kind of well up at the end. I was like, oh shit, like that kind of caught me off guard. Like it was really well done, and you're right, this whole run here definitely from someone who looks at Superman kind of from an outsider's perspective, as not a fan, and even for like outsider for comics, I was like, this, to me, whenever I think Superman, this book is it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially with the whole hope thing, like they really stress that in this book. And I mean, shit, that's what the whole S on his fucking chest is supposed to be about. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, so it's really nice because it's like giving form to everything that Superman is. And it sounds kind of weird, but it's like, say you had a book about Batman and the whole run or issues were about why he has that bat on his chest. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. This is just like, you want to know who Superman is, you want to know the core of the character, read this.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. So overall, I did enjoy myself with it.
That's awesome. We finally found a Superman book that you really enjoyed. Because to everyone, obviously, we haven't recorded in a hot minute.
Yeah.
We haven't uploaded in a hot minute. We went on a hiatus due to personal life stuff.
Yeah.
And we were both very busy.
Yeah.
We have 2 episodes that are actually already recorded and done.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being a Superman episode. It was Superman House of Brainiac. We will still release the episodes.
Yeah.
But we have both Superman House of Brainiac and the new Ultimate X-Men recorded. And those will get released soon. It'll be after this episode. But that's crazy because you had very mixed emotions about the
House of Brainiac.
House of Brainiac story, and that's crazy. We finally found one. With 3 stories in, we finally found one.
I've started to notice a trend, right? Where like maybe I'm just a simpleton, right? But like I like my stories for the most part concise and simple for the most part. And I find a lot of superhero comics to be complicated.
Oh yeah.
Mainly because a lot of the runs that we're reading and stuff like that are stuff that's been in the making of a universe for like years.
Yeah, they make references to things that you're just like, what?
And maybe if I was an avid comic reader since young and, you know, and all of that, it'd be different. And that's probably why like some of the stuff hits better for you rather than it does me. But that's also one of the reasons why we do this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know shit about comics, really.
Right.
You know, as I've said in previous episodes, like the only real comic I have under my belt is the Amazing Spider-Man runs. And I mean, like some Image Comics stuff like Saga and everything. But before doing this, I had not really read a whole lot of comics. So, but this one, yeah, this is nice. This was a good Superman story that I enjoyed. Rather than other one, like, because even with Secret Origin, I was like, it's okay. Like, there's moments that I liked, but it was all right. This, I was like, okay, this was enjoyable through and through. Like, I don't really have any complaints.
Yeah.
And when I was teasing it last night to you how I felt, and you just assumed the worst, you're like, you're about to have a hot take because everyone loves this book and everything.
Yeah.
And part of me wanted to come on here just for like, just bullshit half of this episode of like, I hate this fucking book or whatever. But no, I enjoyed it. And like I said, it definitely hit me in the emotions right at the end and stuff like that. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, there's not a whole lot of history to get into with this story besides like publication history.
Yeah.
Because this story came out during the Rebirth era, so like 2015, 2016, around that. They were getting rid of the whole New 52 stuff.
Yeah.
And this book did not come out in comic book stores. This book came out in Walmart.
Huh.
This was a Walmart exclusive book. There were 2 books that they did that DC published. Superman Up in the Sky, written by Tom King, who at the time was the current writer of Batman.
Okay.
And then Batman Universe, which was being written by Brian Michael Bendis, who was the current writer of Superman. And so, as a part of the initiative, they decided, well, what if we just swap you guys.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because everyone fucking hates their runs on those characters specifically. No one likes Tom King's Batman. No one likes Bendis's Superman.
Let's be honest. Bendis is a bit of a diverse.
Yeah. Or divisive.
Yeah.
Man, it's too early for us.
It's too early. But that's funny.
Yeah, they decided to swap them.
Okay.
And this book, I think an issue came out every 4 months or something like that. It took a while for it to come out, and I think you can probably notice that the way the story is formatted, it seems not normal.
Yeah.
Because they kind of put 2 stories in a single issue in a sense. Now, I think that really does work for this story in particular because now, I don't know if in an interview he has stated that this was his intention for Superman Up in the Sky, but this book reads like a retelling or an homage to the 12 Labors of Hercules.
Okay.
And each story that happens puts Superman through a new type of challenge, which is why at the beginning of every issue they kind of recap the main plot.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of the recap they always say, but a new challenge arises.
Yeah. I don't know enough about the Hercules labors and stuff to know any direct comparison, but I see what you're saying, because each issue definitely went on with a new challenge of a different angle of who Superman is.
Yeah.
The second issue, it's all about the strength and endurance. Yeah. And then third issue, I think, is the one with Dark Side. No. But I'm immediately thinking of the Dark Side one, where that's all about his conviction and things like that. But yeah, no, I mean, I could see that for sure. Whether it directly correlates, I don't know, because I don't know enough about the mythology of Hercules other than he was big strong man.
Right.
So, but it definitely, going about that route, it definitely made it, you see all sides of Superman and what he stands for and stuff, and I really appreciate that. So
yeah. So I think without further ado, we get right into this. So we open up issue 1 with a nice big full page panel of Superman just fighting a big robot.
Yeah.
They kind of do all the classic Superman things where he's fighting a robot, he's fighting a dinosaur, that kind of stuff. You get to see him do these kind of just crazy things.
And I think they do that on purpose, because they do really hammer home in this issue of we need you. You can't go anywhere, because look at all the crazy shit that happens here.
We've got fucking new gods coming all the time trying to kill us.
So I think it's very deliberate that the things you're seeing him fight in this issue are just kind of crazy.
Yeah. So he's fighting this big robot, and he is on comms with Batman. Or at least Batman's talking to him and Superman can hear him because he's always listening to Bruce.
Yeah.
And Batman essentially explains to him there was a crime last night in Gotham. It was a foster family with, husband, wife, and 4 children. And the husband, wife, and 2 of the 4 children were murdered, killed. 1 was shot and is currently in Gotham MD or wherever, whatever.
Mercy Hospital.
Yeah, Mercy Hospital. And the 4th, the youngest, is gone. She just disappeared. And Superman is essentially I'm really sorry to hear that, Bruce. That's awful. I don't envy you. And Bruce essentially tells him her favorite superhero is Superman.
Yeah.
You need to go talk to her.
Yeah.
And you kind of get this feeling that maybe Batman kind of knows something's not right, and that it's not his usual bullshit he has to put up with in Gotham.
As, was it Perry at the newspaper?
Yeah.
Where he's Planet. We got fucking weird shit happen all the time in Metropolis. a murder in Gotham? Oh no, that's like every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it's like, it definitely paints him as like a dick, because it's like, it's a murder.
Right.
But he's kind of not wrong, because it's fucking Gotham.
Yeah, he's completely right. So Superman, he goes to Mercy Hospital, and I really like this scene. It's very simple and quick. It's just one page, but you don't see Superman directly.
Yep.
And this girl who is in critical care is talking about the night that the abduction happened. Her sister's abduction. And she keeps talking about this Superman toy.
Yeah.
About how it was her toy, but her sister Alice loved Superman, favorite superhero ever, and she was always playing with it. And then she keeps talking about this toy and how she loves Superman, but Alice was a bigger fan. And eventually, she says like, we were scared. We hid in the bushes in our backyard and we closed our eyes. But when I opened my eyes, Alice was gone and she went up in the sky.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because when she says that, you just see the silhouette of Superman, and it's
also a title drop.
Yeah, it's a title drop. It's cool, and it's almost haunting in a way that Superman. Yeah. It feels like Superman almost takes this personally.
I find it funny that when Superman is in Gotham in this, he is essentially kind of like drawn a little bit like Batman would be. You know what I mean? Because like. Batman's all about shadows and shit like that, and they use his silhouette and everything. I was like, okay, I can respect that. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
I agree. And then, we cut to the Metropolis, the Daily Planet in Metropolis, and essentially, just like you said, Clark Kent is trying to pitch this idea of this murder, kidnapping, trying to write for it, put it in the paper, and Perry's like, Kent, I love you, but you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he's like, where did this murder happen? And he's like, Gotham. And Perry's like, oh, okay. What the fuck do you think you're thinking?
Yeah, Perry is very unapologetic in this, and he is just like, Kent, get the fuck out of my office, please.
And then immediately after, it's fucking a T-Rex attacking.
Yeah, fucking Hal Jordan and Superman are fighting. And Hal is essentially like, look, Soups, I put out, what is it called?
APB.
Yeah, an APB to the core, all that stuff. We are looking everywhere in the galaxy. If it was aliens, we would know. In fact, they actually kind of know that it's aliens because Hal brings up the idea of Zeta beams, which obviously you don't know what Zeta beams are. Zeta beams are kind of a classic staple in the DC universe. They're a form of like space travel where it's like they're similar to like in Star Trek, the beam me up Scotty, that type deal. It's similar to that, but it's more technology based in a sense. Like the beams are technology and you can make Zeta beams. It's a very golden age era of comics
where it's almost it's science, but it's kind of like magic at the same time.
Kinda.
It's what I consider science fluff, where it's like, we just need this thing to happen, so we're just going to come up with this
this thing.
Concept.
Yeah. That's essentially what it is. And Zeta beams are tied to a character named Adam Strange, who does actually make an appearance in this book, which is kind of cool. Adam Strange is from the golden age of comics. He is your like John Carpenter or Flash Gordon type character, very like space age, adventure hero.
Yeah,
that's him.
I do find it interesting that while Superman is being Superman on Earth, it feels like he's holding himself back of doing because I mean, it is mentioned in this issue of like what he needs to do as Superman.
Yeah,
because Superman would go find this girl, no questions asked. But everything around him is telling him essentially like to stay. That'll sort itself out or whatever.
Yeah, the lanterns will get it taken.
Yeah, but I find that interesting.
I agree, and that does end up becoming conversation here in just a bit. We do see Superman kind of going through his like normal adventures that he normally goes through in a story, where he stops an asteroid from hitting Earth, and he fights Atomic Skull, and he fights all these different villains and threats. And during this, Batman is talking to him, and he lets Superman know, like, hey, I just wanted you to know the girl that you spoke to the other day, she took a turn for the worse
and passed away.
She passed away. And he tells Superman, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it's just great because you just see Superman trying to like do his job in a sense, just kind of block everything.
But you can tell like something is like nagging at him.
It's bothering him.
Yeah.
And we cut to Kansas, and Superman's just sitting there talking to his dad.
Yeah.
And he essentially is justifying himself, saying like, you know, you can't save everyone. And Jonathan's like, you're right, son, you can't save everyone. And Superman's like, and the Corps is out there. There's thousands of them. Like, they're all good people. They'll find her and they'll bring her back. And Jonathan's like, yeah, the Corps is out there and they're doing the right thing. But here's the thing. You and I are adults. We can rationalize that.
Yeah. That little girl's going to be out there hoping.
Yeah.
All because that's what kids do. They hope.
Yeah. And she's going to hope that Superman's going to walk through those doors and take her home. And that, to me, is really like Clark's like moment of, I've made up my mind.
Well, I think it's really interesting because he doesn't outright say that she's going to be hoping that Superman comes and save her. But as a reader, it's implied because of how much, and I think this is why the other little girl really stressed how much she loved that Superman toy. And I think that's what in your mind as a reader, because I thought the same thing. I was like, she's going to be waiting for Superman to come save her.
Yeah.
But it's because they bridged those two things together. Superman was her favorite hero, her favorite toy.
Yeah.
Of course, as a kid, when you're in that situation, she's going to be hoping that it's Superman. But his dad never straight up says that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just think it's cool that the writer was able to like use these two conversations and just implant that idea in our head.
Right. No, I completely agree. Yeah, that Tom King really, it's so crazy, the night and day of his Batman and Superman. Like, he was almost made to write Superman in a sense, which is insane to think, because Tom King has like a history in like government service, because he used to be like a CIA agent or FBI agent. Like, he was a spy.
Yeah.
And he retired and decided he wanted to do comics. And, you know, writing Batman, you think like this is perfect.
Yeah, it's espionage kind of.
No one likes it. This book is like universally praised.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how well he just gets not just Superman, but his supporting cast. It's amazing. And, you know, we cut to back to the Daily Planet, and Superman and Lois are sitting on the globe, and Superman is essentially saying, I have to go find her.
Yeah.
And Lois is like, well, how long are you going to be gone? And he tells her,
I
don't know, a while.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going out in space.
It's space.
Yeah.
We're not talking about like Kansas.
Yeah,
I'm going to be gone. And she basically, you know, they have this like nice little banter of, you know, while you're gone, I'll try not to fall off any tall building.
And makes the joke of like, that's my brand.
Yeah.
And everything like that. Yeah.
And Superman,
which we both know, and it comes up later, like Lois, she's not a damsel. She never really has been.
No.
You know?
At least not in modern comics.
Yeah, she gets shit done, and I do think it's funny that they make kind of fun of that here, and then later, when Superman's like
freaking out,
like having essentially like a panic attack.
Yeah.
And, you know, eventually talks to her, and she's like fucking dealing with crime and stuff.
Yeah.
Like in and out, no problem.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah. Lois she's fine.
Yeah.
She can do it.
Yeah, she'll be just fine. And so Superman, he gets ready, he goes into space, and the first stop he goes to is the planet Rann. This also has to do with Adam Strange. You know, he's got a lot of history here. He has a wife and children, but he can't stay because the Zeta beams take him back to Earth a lot. Like, it's crazy. Either way.
Crazy science shit.
Yeah, crazy science fiction shit. Superman is talking to a Iranian scientist, and essentially the Iranian scientist says, like, you know, we already told the Corps, like, we can't help them. Like, we have the data.
Yeah.
But there's so much data in a Zeta beam that it's physically impossible to look through it all. Mm-hmm. And he even says, like, when the core left, we had a Computo 3 search through the data. And he basically explains a Computo 1 creates and catalogs stars. Mm-hmm. A Computo 3 is beyond your comprehension.
Right.
And when it started to go through the data, it self-erased all the data and left with, before it killed itself, left us with one sentence, and it just said, I can't.
Yeah, that's like terrifying.
That is so crazy.
And then Superman's like, I hear you. Strap me up.
Yeah, he basically says, like, all right, Doc, push the button.
Yeah.
The girl's not going to save herself. And the scientist says, like, just so you know, it is mathematically impossible that you survive this.
Yeah.
Like, you will die. That's the only thing I can guarantee.
And Superman's just like, fucking do it anyway. And the scientist is literally like, goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, it's been nice knowing you.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Superman says that Alice is waiting for Superman to come save her. And yeah, the scientist says, goodbye, Superman.
Yeah.
And then we immediately cut, and it's very jarring, but I like it. It almost feels like Matrix-y in a sense.
A little bit, yeah.
Where things just kind of happen and you're not given an explanation. We cut to a kid on the roof of his house, you know, saying it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman, and he jumps off of his like 2-story house.
Yeah, and he's wearing like a cape and like a Superman t-shirt.
Yeah. And we go to the Daily Planet, you know, Lois and Clark are doing their usual banter and stuff, and then Lois gets a call and she's like, oh my God, Clark, like something happened. And Superman is at the Metropolis General Hospital. He's not in the room, but he's using his X-ray vision to look into the room. And he sees this boy who has jumped off his home. And we do find out that he dies.
Yeah.
And pretending to be Superman. And it messes Clark up.
Yeah. He's in the middle of like fighting Doomsday, and they're using, I don't know if it's like a news report.
Yeah, it's like a news report.
But basically they're explaining the incident, and they like give you background on the kid. Like, he loved his older sister, didn't have a whole lot of friends, but he was okay with that, and like loved playing by himself and playing pretend. He loved superheroes and all this other stuff. And I do like that it does very much give you that feeling while he's punching Darkseid. I don't know what it is exactly about the art, because it's not necessarily like Superman has a face of frustration or anything like that, but you can almost feel like the
weight.
Yeah, the like anger kind of inside himself that he couldn't do anything about it after the fact, or like save the kid from hurting himself, or
he feels responsible.
Yeah,
which he tells Diana, Wonder Woman, in the next panel, because she's, you know, she's fighting like a demon or whatever.
Yeah,
and
she's fighting it, and Superman's just standing there.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm retiring, and Diana's like, are you fucking serious,
dude?
right
If I was her, I'd be like, help me beat this fucking thing, then we can have our chat. Okay, come on, seriously. Like, do you see how big this fucking demon is?
And Superman's like, it's magic, I'll get hurt. He's like, I don't fight people that are like me or stronger. So essentially, Wonder Woman gives him this talk of like, Clark, we inspire people. We inspire so many to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. And, you know, what happened was a tragedy. It sucked. And it will happen again. Like, you can't stop people from doing things.
Yeah, people have free will.
Yeah. Like, you can't let this just end Superman. Mm-hmm. And then we jump to the Fortress of Solitude. And Jor-El, or the ghost of Jor-El, the hologram Jor-El, is talking to his son and is essentially telling him the same thing of like, you know, 10 years from now, I could list the millions of people that you could have saved had you still be Superman.
Yeah.
Basically telling him like, you can't stop.
Yeah.
You have to keep going. You have to move forward. You have to get over this tragedy.
Yeah, because as tragic as it is, think about all the other tragedies that will happen if you stop being Superman.
Right. And this was something you had no fault in.
Yeah. It was completely outside of you
right.
as a person.
And, you know, Jor-El essentially says, like, you know, there will be devastation if you're not Superman, and people will cry out to you, but will you listen? And Superman tells him, like, of course, I'm always listening. And we get this kind of, like, cool line from Superman that kind of, in a way, helps him snap back, where he says, like, if you help them, they die. If you don't help them, they die. Given the limitations of this data, and success here is impossible and is mathematically certain, which is the line that the scientist gave him.
Yeah.
And it helps him snap back for just a moment. And he says, you will go mad and you will die. And then
it cuts to him being on top of the kid that jumps house.
As Clark Kent.
As Clark. And he says the same thing that the kid said. It's a bird. It's a plane. And he's about to say it's Superman. But that's when Alice, or at least
this
image of Alice, asks him, like, are you going to jump? And Superman is like, yes. And Alice is like, I will too, but will you save me? And Superman's like, I don't know if I can. And Alice is like, oh, that's good. I thought you were going to say that you can't, or I can't, which
it's kind of chilling in a sense, like, but in a good way.
Because the idea that he said, I don't know if I can, implies I'm going to try, though.
Yeah.
And that
becomes her hope.
Yeah. And that becomes a thing later of, like, I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool scene.
It is very cool. I agree. So she says that to him, and we then jump to them in the park in Metropolis, and she essentially gives him a rough coordinates of where they ended up at, like, at the end of the Zeta Beam.
Yeah.
She's like, we were on our way to the Bodes Galaxy, and we stopped at this museum to use the bathroom, the Space Museum. And she talks about how they were right in the middle of this big exhibit on Krypton, and on the end of it, and about how this baby flew away from the planet. And as she's talking to him, because he's still dressed as Clark, as she's talking to him, it cuts back to him, and he's back to being Superman. You kind of get this feeling that he's, you know, on his way back. And, you know, they have this conversation, and Superman apologizes, and he says, like, I'm sorry, I never asked for your name. And that's when she was like, oh, my name's Alice. And as she says her name, he snaps out of the machine. Yeah. And the scientist is like, what the fuck? How the fuck are you still alive?
And Superman just is like,
no time.
It's perfectly, all it is just luck and circumstance that I didn't fucking like die from that.
Yeah.
And he's like, some other day I could have easily been like stuck in that machine or whatever, but he's like, right now I don't have time for that. Someone's waiting on me.
Yeah.
And it shows him flying out of the, like, off from the planet back into space, and I was like, okay. That's when I knew. I was like, okay, this book is really going to be hammering home, like, Superman's, like, number one identity of what he is.
Yeah. So, issue 2, we jump straight into this crazy ass, like, boxing match between Superman
and Mido.
And Mido is a Golden Age character who is the implied stepbrother / foster brother of Superman. Because before the Kents found Superman and he landed on Earth, the Kents had had neighbors who the parents died, and they took in their son, and that family were alien. They were aliens, but no one knew. And so Mido is like a pseudo, like, super family. Yeah, Superman, super family. It's Golden Age. We don't even know if that's canon anymore.
Right.
So they begin this boxing match. They've got this classic like boxer like pants and gloves and all that stuff on. And the referee's like, all right, fellas, you set the terms. Good, clean fighting. No superpowers other than your super strength and your endurance.
Yeah.
And, you know, they get started and they start whooping the shit out of each other.
One thing I really liked about this section. So we both read it on the DC Infinite app. Mm-hmm. And you can have the option to go panel by panel, right? Well, every round card was considered a single panel.
Yeah.
And because I don't know if that's how you read it.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. Almost did like, it was like a flash cut of like just these moments in each round. And it really improved the overall like reading experience, I think, of it.
Yeah, I agree.
But I really did like this sequence, especially towards the latter, because in the first couple rounds, Superman's getting his ass beat.
Oh, yeah.
And I to me, what I read was like his own self-doubt about himself is what's allowing him to get his ass kicked.
Yeah. And that's kind of what Mito is hinting at, of like, you know, if this was just a normal fight and you could use all your powers, you'd win.
Yeah.
But it's just your strength, and you know that I'm bigger than you and I'm stronger than you.
Yep.
When it comes to just strength alone. And Mito essentially tells him, like, there are limits to even what you can withstand. Mm-hmm. And they go through 12 rounds of fighting, and they both just beat the absolute shit out of each other, to the point where Superman has these kind of like comedic, like ringside coaches.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Rocky Balboa.
Yeah,
they're, you know, they're aliens, and they're telling him, like, you know,
you're Superman. You can beat this schmuck and all this.
Yeah, it's like, what is this, prom night? Stop dancing with them, mm-hmm. that kind of stuff. And eventually one of the coaches is like, you know, maybe he's right. Like, you know, you're getting beat up out there, kid. You got to get out. And Superman essentially says, like, do I have the girl? And they say, no, you don't. And he goes, then I guess I'm not bowing out. And he didn't hear no bell. So he's getting in there. And they're just going in, and Superman gets up and he starts whooping the ever living shit out of him. And Mito tells him, like, this is crazy.
Like, there are limits.
There are limits to what you can survive, Superman. And Superman just says, are there? And Mito just drops to his knees.
Yeah, and Mito tells the ref, he's like, start the count. And the ref is like, what are you throwing in the towel? And because earlier Mito told Superman, like, just go ahead and quit. And, you know, because the outcome is I'm going to win. Yeah. Just save yourself some pain.
Yeah.
And when the ref is like, what are you throwing in the towel? Mm-hmm. And Mito's like, I'm already beat. I'm just saving myself some pain.
Yeah.
And he's like, start the fucking count.
Yeah. And you also find out that the whole point of this fight was someone had hired Mito, because Mito's a mercenary.
Yeah.
Someone had hired Mito to fight Superman, and Mito essentially took it into his own hands to create kind of like a show in a way, and basically said, look, Superman, we're rivals in strength. I'll make a deal. If you can beat me, I'll tell you where to go to find the girl.
And who took her.
And who took her. Yeah. If I win, you pack up and you go back to Earth.
Yep.
And that's basically what started this whole thing. Superman ends up winning, and he leaves to continue his journey. But the next time we see him, he's beat up and floating through space.
Yep.
Now, at first I thought it was from his fight against Mito, but then I noticed, like, his outfit is all torn up.
Yeah.
And then they do eventually show, like, a flashback of him getting hit by someone, by energy, and they kind of left him for dead. But either way, Superman gets picked up by this big, like, bug-looking spaceship, mm-hmm. and you find out that it is home to... They're not evil.
Yeah.
They're, like, empathic aliens where they can sense emotions and memories and stuff like that. And they have a form of healing where...
It uses life force.
It uses life force, yeah. They're empathic healers. And whenever they heal, a part of your memories and feelings get imprinted onto them.
Mm-hmm.
And this ship's healer, gets Superman and begins to work on him, but he has suffered a wound too great for just basic healing. And that's what he tells his captain. And his captain's essentially like, so what you're telling me is that you have to die to heal him. That's not fucking happening.
Yeah.
Like, we will drop his body off at the next way station.
And they can fix him or do whatever.
They're just toss his body into the sun or something. Like, he's going to die.
Yeah.
And the healer, he's on his way back to his home, and he sees memories of Superman saving Lois and telling her, like, you're not alone. I've got you. All that kind of stuff. And he gets back home where his wife and children are.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells her, like, I have to heal him. Like, I have to hope that he'll get better. And she's like, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah.
Like you have a responsibility to your wife and children to like be here for us. And he essentially tells her, like, you don't understand.
Yeah. The importance of this man.
This man has saved his world, our worlds, our whole universe thousands of times, millions of times. And the things that he will do is astronomical. Like, my life is insignificant to his in a way. Now, that's not what Superman believes, but that's what this is basically being implied by this healer.
Yeah.
And he essentially says, like, he would do the same for me. That's the reason why he wants to do this.
And at first, the alien has like a nightmare and wakes up in the middle of the night and goes and visits Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like begging Superman's unconscious body to, like, because of his empathic abilities and everything he sees of Superman, he's like, I know it's the right thing to, like, give my life to heal you, but do not ask me to make this choice. Like, I have a family and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just Superman lying there unconscious.
Yeah.
But he's like, this one, I cannot do it. Do not ask me. I beg you, do not ask me to do this.
Yeah.
Even though I understand. And then we get more of like a flashback of him fighting a super...
This Mongol.
Looks like a super scroll.
Yeah, he's a Superman villain.
Yeah. And then it goes to the alien playing with his kids and everything. And he starts crying.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like it's his last
moments with them.
Yeah.
And he goes back to Superman and starts healing him.
And this is a really cool moment too, because Superman is, that Superman is talking to Lois, and Lois tells Superman, like, you inspire them. He's talking about humanity,
yeah,
and talking about life in general. And it's cool because it's interlaced with this alien going to his medical chamber, and Superman tells Lois, no, they inspire me. Basically saying, like, you are the ones that make me
want to do this.
Yeah, you make me who I am, want to do this. You're the reason why I put the suit on.
And not just her specifically.
Yeah.
It's
everyone.
It's everyone. People he doesn't even know.
Yeah. And that inspires the alien to have the resolve and do this. And he essentially, while he's healing Superman, basically tells him, like, I have a message, like, that I want you to give my children. Because the same thing happens where, like, he can imprint himself
on Superman,
temporarily onto Superman. And Superman comes to the family and says, like, I have a message from your husband to your children. And he basically says, all can be lost, but none are truly alone. And he just says, I'm sorry, and he embraces the children.
Yeah.
And that's the end of issue 2. And I remember my first time reading this, and I just remember being so fucked up after that issue. It's so sad, but it shows such a level of, like, who Superman is as an idea.
Yeah.
Like, not a person, but the idea of, like, inspiration and making people be better.
Yeah.
Like, going above and beyond yourself to do the right thing, even if you know it doesn't benefit you.
Yeah, and that's always one thing that Superman's kind of been about, is just being what people should be.
Yeah.
Rising to the occasion, doing what is right.
Yeah.
And despite the sacrifices to oneself.
Yeah.
And that is wholly encapsulated with this alien giving ultimately the
ultimate sacrifice.
The ultimate sacrifice and sacrificing himself to save Superman.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I consider myself a bit of a cynic, and it's like some could say, oh, it's like, Superman essentially, quote unquote, took this alien's life.
Yeah.
But it's like, and like, what is Superman the greater good, quote unquote, But at the same time, like we've said with Batman before, like he's not just a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're an idea, they're a symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And symbols and ideas are far more powerful than any one person.
Yeah.
I mean, good or bad in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah. It goes both ways.
But ultimately, without Superman in the galaxy, on Earth and stuff, like, things would just be so much worse.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just kind of, it feels very like topical as well, especially like in our era of where we've grown up, where like in superhero media, like the landscape is kind of dominated by cynical or just straight up evil Supermen.
Yeah.
And
or just like the dark, gritty, quote unquote, take, the realistic take.
Like, I'm sure everyone by now knows, like, I'm not a fan of The Boys or Invincible for those reasons specifically. Like, I don't like the idea of, like, well, if Superman was real, he would just be a huge piece of shit. It's like, yeah, but Superman's not real. And he's supposed to be something more than just a person. He's the idea of being good for the sake of doing good.
I get what you're saying, but I would disagree using like The Boys and Invincible as an example, because in my head I don't see that and go, oh, well, if Superman was real, he'd be a dick.
Well, I do think The Boys makes for a good example because Homelander is Superman.
I get that.
Like, he has the exact same powers.
But my thing is there's a lot more context in those, things.
Yes, but to the general audience,
right?
To like people who don't read comics, that's going to be the thing they think of.
That's true. Yeah, because then you have like Invincible and
like Omni-Man.
Omni-Man's from fucking, what is it?
He's a Viltrumite.
Yeah, he's a Viltrumite, so he's from Viltrum,
which is it's a race of super people. Yeah.
And then yeah. Like I get what you're saying, but I think those shows would probably hit better these days if it wasn't for the fact that we had already been through like the Injustice era and like the Snyderverse of fucking Superman and stuff.
Yeah.
I think the only hero that you can really get away with like the gritty, quote unquote, realistic adaptation of is Batman, because he is a dude with just a lot of money.
I guess I've always said though that Batman's not realistic either.
I mean, he's not, but he's the one.
It's because he doesn't have powers.
Yeah, that's essentially what I'm saying. Like, he just uses gadgets and is really smart. In the comics, yeah, he does stuff that you ultimately could never.
No person could
like
falling from the atmosphere and surviving because his underwear is fireproof.
But
like, that's crazy.
But I mean, like, if there is a hero that you're gonna do that for to make like the gritty, realistic or whatever, Batman would be one of them. Because it's within the realm of possibility. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I can understand that. And I'm never going to sit there and say, like, people can't want a realistic interpretation of a hero. I just think people don't quite fully... And when I say this, I don't mean everyone, obviously. Mm-hmm. I don't think a lot of people fully grasp the idea of what realistic means.
Right.
Because to me, realistic is someone that, like, I can look at and they feel like a real person to me.
Yeah.
Like, Superman feels like a real person because he does have, like, with all his powers, he has, like, real world problems.
Yeah. We're going on a bit of a tangent, but I do want to go on this because I do think it's a conversation that could come up with Superman a lot. And because Superman is the type of person that always does the right thing because that is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I see what you're saying. Like, he is a real, like, when you read him and stuff, he seems like a real person. But to me, and again, this might be because of my cynic nature or pessimistic nature, I think one of my things is I think power corrupts. And I think that is true for everyone. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there's good people out in the world. But you give them powers like Superman.
Well, we don't know.
I mean,
that's the thing. He's not real.
Yeah, I understand that. But I think you give someone powers like Superman, a good 90% of the time, they're probably ending up a villain. And maybe that's just because I have a lack of faith in humanity. And that goes to show how we're different.
Right.
But I just think that's why I don't have a problem with shows like The Boys or Invincible and stuff, because to me, when you have someone with like godlike powers, I mean, people who just have money let shit get to their head. You know, now imagine having like godlike powers. Like, I think you're gonna go on a bit of an ego trip.
Yeah, but I guess I think it's a level of different, or it's like it's a set of different circumstances that make Superman who he is, because like Superman's not rich.
Yeah,
like he was born, or he wasn't born. I mean, in some continuities he is, but he was raised in the heartland of America by two farmers. Like,
yeah,
like
no,
he's not rich. Like he doesn't know what it means to have that kind of power, because Superman doesn't get his powers till he's a teenager.
Yeah,
so like. That's
he
another
lived
thing.
The normal life for the most part. I don't know. I
feel like this is another conversation that could be like a whole episode.
Yeah.
Of like superheroes, like do superhero powers, like could they realistically be in the real world?
I don't know. I think it's a fascinating conversation because, you know, to us, comic books obviously are fiction.
Yeah.
And then obviously, and just the thought of that being reality and what it would be like is obviously where things like The Boys and Invincible come from.
Like, don't get me wrong, like I am an optimist through and through, but if we lived in, let's just say, the DC or Marvel universe, it'd fucking suck.
Yeah,
because
it would,
like even with altruistic people who do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, it would still fucking suck.
You are not catching me living anywhere near a fucking city. I can tell you that.
I would
now.
live in the country.
Yeah. I don't know. You're right. That could be a whole nother episode on its own. I find it fascinating.
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic. I agree. So. Back to the story. Yeah, back to the story. We get to issue 3, and this issue had a little bit of controversy in it when it was coming out. This is issue 3, The 1,000 Deaths of Lois Lane. I found this issue to be really funny, but I'm also...
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny.
I thought this was super dark.
Well, not the Lois part, like with her dying. I'm talking about the Superman part.
Oh.
But this had a lot of controversy when it was coming out because that book that was releasing in Walmart was an all ages book. So kids were picking it up, and the first thing you see is Lois tied up in a chair being yelled at by Lex Luthor, and he's like, begged for your life, and she says no, and he shoots her right in the fucking head.
Yeah, because she believes Superman's about to come and save her.
Yeah. And he doesn't, and then we cut to Superman basically in the space DMV.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the DMV, but it's, you know, it's similar.
It has the vibe of a DMV because it's all slow and there's all the like fucking paperwork and everything like that. But it's like a call center almost, where they're like trying to connect you to different like galaxies or whatever.
Yeah. And this story is supposed to represent like patience for Superman. And I also thought it was a really cool detail that there's an invader next to him. That's the yellow alien. That's the racist alien. Not racist as in he's racist, but when they created him, it was definitely because of racist intentions.
Oh, okay.
Because that is supposed to be the red sun of Japan on his forehead.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was created in the 80s.
Oh, well,
way after World War II.
Here's the thing. Well, I mean,
yeah, racism has existed.
Yeah, racism has always been around, and unfortunately, it's just still around. Yeah. So like,
it's just wild that they continue to use these characters.
I'd probably like maybe change some things up on.
You couldn't have used like a Daxamite or something like that,
or just like change the design in general.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Just like gotten rid of the sun thing,
or just like they evolved. They no longer look this way.
Yeah,
you know, or something like.
Yeah. So Superman is sitting in this DMV waiting for his number to be called, and he keeps thinking about all the different ways that Lois and his friends are dying. And you know, that cuts to a plane, it's crashing, and Jimmy's like, oh, don't worry, Lois, I've got my watch, I'll call him. And then they fucking crash and die.
I will say Jimmy's smug face does kind of crack me up a little bit when he's like, don't worry, I signaled him, he's on the way,
I got this.
And then just they hit the ground.
Boosh. So. Yeah. And then we cut to Superman, who is talking to this receptionist and is essentially like, hey, I was, you know, I've already been to this window. I spoke with someone else, and the receptionist just keeps saying name.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry, please. I spoke to someone and he told me to wait here. And she just keeps interrupting him, and he's like, please, like, they said it would be 5 minutes. That was 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are trying to connect a call to Earth so I can speak to someone, and she just won't give him the time of day, and she just says name. And he says Superman.
With an E.
And then he spells it out for her. And then we cut to the Joker.
Yeah. And Lois like being like, Clark, where are you?
Yeah. But I feel like this is kind of also making fun of like the injustice thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously Joker kills Lois Lane, or, you know, forces Superman to kill Lois Lane. And
yeah, tomato.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And then, you know, the invader, that's what the race is called, by the way, the invaders.
Are you sure about that?
They're, you know, he's talking to Superman, and he's like, oh yeah, I got lost in like the Milky Way galaxy and stuff like that during this invasion. It's making a reference to DC Invasion, which is where they were introduced. And Superman's essentially like, if I have to spend another minute in this place, I'm going to take the whole planet and throw it into a black hole.
Yeah. He's so fed up. And the invader's just like, yeah, like, I understand. I get it.
Yeah. And Superman's just like, truth, justice, and the American way. That's all. That's what he keeps saying. And then we cut to Lois opening up a box or a letter or package from the Toy Master or Toy Man.
It's a bomb.
It's a bomb. That's what he does. Toy Man does that. And he's like, Superman's starting to have a panic attack. He's freaking out. Like, you know, she should have answered her phone. Why is it taking so long? Blah, blah, blah. And then they eventually call Superman, he has more visions of like her getting hit by a truck, General Zod coming, getting eaten by a shark.
The classic like being trapped on a table with the laser.
Yeah.
And, like all these different ways she probably had been in situations like this before in the past, and Superman saved her. Yeah. But he's thinking of all those moments and is like, but I'm not there right now. Yeah. That could be happening again. Yeah. I'm not right there. He's freaking the fuck out.
And then he gets called up, and this funny like bug alien's like, oh yeah, Superman with an E. Yeah, we like connected your phone call like 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
And like there was just a mix up, and we thought you had already come up, and we just never called you. And he was like, you are Superman, right? And Superman's like,
yes,
that would be me.
I think it's funny because he's got like,
he looks evil as fuck.
Dude, he's got like black eyeliner under his eye to like show how tired and like stressed he is.
Yeah.
But it's so thick. I'm like, dude joined an emo band.
Yeah.
Like,
and we get this like, it's kind of sad like conversation between him and Lois where, you know, she's essentially like, I miss you and it's lonely here and people need you. and there's no Superman. Mm-hmm. And then she gets caught up with Perry. Basically, something happened, and there are people who have died in this like robbery, and she's like, bye, love you.
Yeah.
And Superman just says like, I miss you.
But she's already hung up by that point.
Yeah.
And I find this super sad because it's like sad and bittersweet because all he wanted to do was to know she's okay.
Yeah.
And he hears her voice, so he knows she's okay. But she's out the door throwing herself into danger once more.
Yeah.
Before he even could say that he like loves her or misses her or anything like that.
Yeah. And let me just say, like, obviously I don't think this is anything wrong with the book. If my best friend was fucking Batman and Wonder Woman, like those are his two best friends, like, would you not be like, hey, I'm gonna be gone for like a week and a half or 2 weeks, like, can you just like pop in every once in a while, like keep tabs? Like, you have their numbers on speed dial, Lois.
Here's the thing, I would like to think that Batman, being like one of Clark's best friends, was already keeping tabs on Lois.
100%.
You know what I mean? He keeps tabs on everybody already. And
those people got fucking superpowers.
Yeah, so I think the problem being that Batman can't be there in the Flash. But that's when Batman can just be like, hey, Flash.
Barry, I need you to run over there real quick. Just fucking tell Barry, like, hey, I'm going to be gone. If you like get a weird text, just walk over to Metropolis real quick on the other side of the country.
It's literally just a hop and a skip for you, dog.
Yeah, for real. So that's the end of that like segment of the story. And then we immediately cut to Superman in World War II.
Yeah, this took me out for a sec, like a bit.
It's jarring, but it's one of those devices where like they don't tell you what happened until you're like halfway through. It's one of those things. We are met with Sergeant Rock, who you don't fucking know who that is whatsoever. Nope. Sergeant Rock is a Golden Age character who is created by or co-created by Joe Kubert, who is Andy Kubert's father. And Adam Kubert's also a comic book artist. And they both were inspired by their father to become artists.
Right.
And Superman essentially has amnesia this issue. This is a very quick and simple like issue to me.
Yeah.
Clark wakes up, he has amnesia, he doesn't know who he is, he just knows that he's from Kansas.
And he's in his long pajamas.
Yeah. And that Sergeant Rock is essentially like, all right, your name is Kansas now, because everyone in the army has
nicknames or whatever.
Yep. And he teaches Clark about this grenade technique where it's like, hey, if a grenade falls in your trench, you need to throw it because you can't outrun it. You're basically just going to die with your back to it.
Yeah, your back blown up.
And Superman, that exact situation happens. They're basically locked down in a trench. They can't get into no man's land because they'll be gunned down. And a grenade gets thrown in. Clark takes that opportunity to grab it and throw it, and it blows up in his hand. And the explosion is impactful enough to jog his memory and remind him like, oh, I'm Superman. I know how I got here. I was flying through space and I fell through a time warp or like a worm tunnel or whatever, and it sent me back here. Why it specifically sent him to World War II Earth, I don't know.
Fuck if I know.
I think it was just a way to like honor Joe Kubert.
Maybe.
That was really it.
And also the whole, like American way kind of thing, because to not undersell what World War II was and the sacrifices made by the young men who fought in World War II. But like, to me, and probably a lot of society, when you think of like real life heroes, you immediately go to like World War II veterans.
Yeah.
Because like they fought an unspeakable evil, you know? And so that to me is like the closest real life like heroes, and kind of like Superman-esque, like they did things and sacrificed themselves for the greater good. And that's what Superman does on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest like things that they hammer home in this part of this issue is just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Like it's with the grenade thing, like don't run away because it's just gonna kill you.
Yeah.
You're gonna die.
You're running from your problems. And
Yeah. You're gonna die regardless.
Yeah.
So you just gotta face it head on and just keep moving. And
like
that's
bravery.
Yeah, that's the huge thing for this part of the issue.
Yeah.
And then you have a really cool like panel of Superman just standing atop the trench and
Taking all the gunfire.
Facing it down.
And it like rips off his like
military uniform.
Yeah, and it shows his Kryptonian outfit.
Yep.
And it's so cool. And yeah, they have this like very brief moment of, you know, fighting back the Nazis and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. And Sergeant Rock essentially tells him like, you know, you could do a lot of good here.
Yeah.
You could end this war faster. And Superman essentially says like, there's a girl waiting for me. I have to go. And he goes and flies through the worm tunnel.
Yep. Yeah, I thought it was really cool because, I mean, obviously Superman was a character that was created way back in the day.
Yeah.
Like around this time.
Yeah, it was created in the 30s.
Yeah, so I think it's super cool to see Superman in that, like, World War II era, like, things happening and stuff.
Because in the Golden Age, there were World War II comics of Superman.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like Captain America.
Yeah. Him, Batman, and Robin all fought in World War II.
Yeah.
So.
And yet somehow Batman's still only like 30 years old.
Yeah. Well, they retcon that shit.
Yeah, I know.
They retcon that. So.
It's cool.
Yeah. It's cool. We get to issue 4. I really like issue 4. I think it's not only is it like a interesting issue like narratively, but it's also like world building wise. I never really thought about this, where what do the superheroes do when there's no superheroing that needs to be done?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the Justice League are like public figures. Like they
hold an event.
They hold an event. Like they do stuff. And this whole issue, or at least this portion of the issue, is a race between Superman and the Flash for charity, which is a super cool reference because in Jeff Johns' Flash Rebirth, the book that Barry Allen came back in, that came out around like 2008-ish, around then, Barry Allen was freaking out and was basically becoming a bomb because of the Speed Force and some machinations from Reverse Flash and all that stuff. And the Justice League were trying to stop him and get him to calm down. And Superman says, like, Barry, you can't outrun me. I've beaten you in a race before.
Yeah.
And Barry looks at Superman and says, Clark, that was for charity. And this is that story.
Yeah.
And that's, I know to you, you're like,
yeah. To me,
whatever.
I'm like, oh, that's a neat fact.
Like, to you, that's a neat fact. But to me, I'm like, holy shit, that was like fucking almost 10 years in the making right there.
That's like, even though I'm not a fan of them, it's like the Saw movies where like in the second Saw, there's like a really minute thing. And then in like Saw 4 or some shit, it's like, this is how the whole thing is explained.
Yeah.
Why this little tiny detail of that movie.
That's why that character was there.
Yeah.
So that's essentially the plot of this section, or this story of Superman and Flash decided to do a charity race. And the person narrating this issue is Alice. And it's told from the perspective of a child. And you can definitely tell that it's like, it's her because of the way she speaks.
Yeah.
And she talks about how it was 10 laps across the entire earth. And whoever won got to donate it to whatever orphanage or whatever. And that everyone was watching it. The whole world stood still for that race. And one person who knew about the race wanted to see Superman fail.
Yeah.
And it was Lex Luthor. Yeah. And so Lex decided to basically match the charity donation if Superman won.
Yeah.
So basically double the pot. And Superman knew he could not win.
Yeah.
That he wasn't fast, because Flash is faster. I mean, the dude fucking rips apart space and time.
Yeah, Superman does not do that.
The dude forgot to grab his subway, and so he goes back in time to get it. Like that's how fast the Flash is. And it's just this really cool, like, comic where you see them racing through everything. And it's cool because they race through Gotham and you see Batman's watching the race too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Batman wouldn't give a shit about a normal race. It's Batman. But he's like, these are my coworkers. I'm going to watch this shit.
Or I like to think the idea that he's in the middle of like a stakeout.
Yeah. And
then he sees them run past the place he's like staking out, and it fucks up his investigation.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh shit, the fucking capes are here, you know?
Yeah. It's like, it's fucking Superman and Flash.
Everybody bolt.
They have superpowers.
Yeah.
So essentially.
So Batman's just like, you fucking morons.
Yeah. So essentially, Superman gets tired and he is like, I don't know if I can win this. And he's trying to rest, and he drums up the will to keep going. And it's narrated by Alice saying that life is full of contradictions, and Superman is the biggest contradiction of them all, because Superman is faster than a speeding bullet, which is a contradiction. Like, no one can be faster than a bullet. Like, it's just not possible. He's stronger than a locomotive. Well, humans aren't that strong.
But he is.
But he is, because he's Superman. You know, he does all these things that are contradictions, and so why should this be any different?
Yep.
And then it cuts to Superman just barely beating out the Flash in the race. And it's funny because, you know, Lex is fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And they donate it to Alice, all the money winnings to Alice's orphanage.
Yeah.
And that's why she's such a fan of Superman. And in order to honor him, Lex Luthor put a plaque next to the bathroom that said he won.
Yeah. Shit's so funny.
And then we cut to this like kind of haunting panel, like very like disturbing, of Alice sitting surrounded by what I presume to be dead aliens.
Yeah.
Who are all chained up. She's chained up.
Either dead or like just held captive.
Yeah.
You know?
And, you know, she basically is scared and alone, and she's just hoping Superman comes to save her.
And she's talking about the contradiction stuff again, and she's like, there's no one out here to save me. I'm all alone. But Superman.
Yeah.
But Superman. And that referencing that I am all alone and I am destined to be alone and or die or whatever. Yeah. But since Superman is a contradiction in itself, there is still hope.
Yeah. And then we cut to present day Superman, who gets struck by what I'm just going to call magic lightning.
Space lightning.
Yeah, because what happens, because I like this issue a lot too, because it's called The Man and Superman. And it splits apart Superman's humanity, so Clark Kent, and Superman's, I call it
Kryptonian nature.
I call it duty. It's his conscience and his duty. Where Clark Kent is Superman's conscience. He's the reason why he is Superman. Yeah. Why he does the right thing. While Superman is the power. He is the, like, I have the ability to stop something, so it's only logical that I do that.
Yeah.
Not because it's the right thing to do. And like you kind of said, Kryptonian as well, because it makes reference to Kryptonian culture, which Kryptonian culture is very science-based. And so Superman doesn't see the logic in going and saving one girl, like when there's a whole Earth to protect. And so he essentially tells that to Clark and says, hey, I'm going to set you up with plenty of food, water, shelter. I'm going to call the Green Lantern Corps, and they're going to come get you and bring you back home. Yeah. I'm going to Earth because there is stuff to be done and people to save. And it is just unfeasible to ditch all of that to save
irrational.
One girl. Yeah. And, you know, he keeps having these conversations with Clark and then leaves, but then comes back.
Yeah.
And Clark is essentially telling him, like, I don't give a shit what you're saying. Yeah. Like, I'm going to find a way off this planet.
And I'm going to go save this girl.
Yeah. And Superman's saying, like, you don't have the power to do that. Like, you're an idiot. And Clark essentially says, like, you keep talking about, like, power and how I'm the idiot, but it seems like you don't have the power to leave.
Yeah. And I really like the moment where they're at like a campfire. The Superman part of him is like, you make me weak, and Clark is like, you never made me strong. Which goes to show just again, like, Superman's just indomitable spirit of like wanting to do the right thing, to save people. And it's really nice to see, because again, like, even though I was defending a bit earlier with like the quote unquote evil Superman stuff, it is refreshing to see like just a fully good-natured superhero in this day and age of like
complex, like morally complex characters.
Yeah, morally gray and all this other stuff, because I'm a big believer that art reflects the time period that it's from.
Yeah, of course.
And so we live in a very complex world right now. So it's nice to have that beacon of just good and what good should be against the dark.
Yeah, you know? I completely agree. And essentially Clark tells Superman, like, you know, this girl, like, means like more than just one person. Like, it basically represents everything that he stands for. Like, if he doesn't save her, who will? That kind of deal. And his words get through to Superman, and it kind of shows that like Clark is more human than people think he is. Like, people who don't read Superman comics usually just say like he's an overpowered alien. Yeah. Except that's not him. Like, Clark is extremely human, extremely relatable as a person. And it causes Superman to kind of have like a change of like ideals, and is like, okay, well, if you're dead set on saving this girl, like, I can't let you do it alone. And essentially they go back into the sky, and Superman's like, you understand, if this bolt of lightning doesn't undo the thing, like, you're just gonna fucking die. And Clark says, like,
that's a chance I gotta take.
Yeah. Like, we don't have any other option.
Yeah. And again, showing that, like, referencing like him talking to Superman, like, you never made me strong. Yeah. Like, yes, you're strong physically, but like, my real strength is from within, which is nice. And to add on to your comment about, you know, like, Clark being very human and stuff like that, like, I don't know, I've probably brought it up before, but I watched it not a while ago, but the Superman and Lois TV show. Yeah. Like, the one scene where he reveals himself. Have you watched it at all?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Where he reveals himself to like Smallville that he is Superman and stuff like that, but because he's like, there's the town like drunk bully guy or whatever, and he goes to shoot him when he's Clark or whatever, and you can tell in that moment when he's looking around at everyone, like, just that weight of like, I know how much this is gonna affect everyone, and it's already like affecting me in the split second of like, it's just really well done. And also when he beats the shit out of the guy earlier in the show for like beating up his kid or whatever. I like, it's just, that show I think is underrated as far as like Superman depiction. I think
I love that show.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah. Later seasons are a bit.
I think it's just personal preference.
To me, it unfortunately ends up like, I think like the 4th or 5th season, it ends up in that like CW territory where it's like, where it's like, we're really stretching the plot thin here, but you know, it's overall a good show. Anyway, that's my tangent.
So issue 5,
I like this issue a lot.
I do too. We start out with Superman making a deal with Darkseid, the Lord of Apocalypse, and arguably the largest villain in the entire DC universe. He's basically Thanos for DC.
Well, what Thanos is now for Marvel.
Yeah, I agree. And essentially, Superman goes to this planet, And there's this prayer happening. And it comes from this alien who is making a prayer to his gods to send an angel. And it turns out he has a form of like dementia, where he has visions that aren't really there, and like it's going to take away his ability to see, and it's going to cause him great pain, and then it'll just be pain until he dies.
Yeah.
And essentially, Superman is his angel. He believes that the gods have sent Superman to take away his suffering, and the guy asked Superman to kill him. The priest had already given him a sword or a knife to do the job, but he just can't bring himself because he's scared.
Yeah.
He's scared to do it. He's scared of dying.
And he asked Superman to tell him a story, and Superman's like, "What kind of story?" And he replies, "The kind of story you tell before you kill a man."
Yeah.
And Superman starts telling him a story, but it's not just any story.
Yeah.
It's his story
Yeah.
about going in and finding Alice, and still using that phrasing of like there was an angel and stuff like that. I really liked how the narration was done with this story in this.
Very biblical.
Very biblical, but just I don't know, something about it just really resonated with me, and it's like it really holds I think a level of there's been like a level of without trying to sound too philosophical, but like darkness in this story, this underlying like fear and other kind of negative emotions. Obviously Superman has come out on top on all of those, but it's just been this like underlying feeling, I feel like, throughout this story.
A lot of anxiety.
Yeah, and I feel like there's this angel story that he tells this priest really encapsulates it.
Yeah.
And makes it manifest a little bit.
I agree. And going back to the biblical thing in this narration, he talks about how, the angel had scoured far and wide in his journey for this girl, and finally, he followed the girl's trail to the pit of hell, and he fought through demons and fought and sweat and bled. But they told him nothing until finally he had come to the devil. And it shows dark side. And he basically says, like, the devil said he knew where the girl was and agreed up to a bargain. Essentially, he knew that the thing that mattered most to the angel were his convictions. And the one that he held above all else is that all life is sacred. That is something that Superman has always believed in. And he basically tells Superman that if you take a life, I will tell you where the girl is. Basically a life for a life. And Superman is sitting there at the side of this man's bed, and it goes from talking about the angel to him. Like he has transformed himself into this angel. Yeah. And he says that my whole life I had wished to be what Mom and Pa taught me to be. And he essentially says, like, he gives the like meme line from Star Wars, I know what I have to do, but I don't think I have the strength to do it. Right. That kind of deal. And the alien man says, like, I feel the pain coming, Superman. Yeah. Like it's coming, you have to do it. And Superman essentially says, like, I can't, I gave my word. Like he told his parents that he would never take a life. And he essentially says, like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. And he just says, but Alice. And then we cut to him walking out of this man's home.
With just I really like these panels, just the silhouette of his suit and the red of his cape. Yeah. And the underoos. Yeah. That's the only thing I could think of. The underoos.
Yeah, the trunks.
Yeah, just.
And the S.
Yeah, and the S being emboldened and like really standing out. I really like these panels.
And I really like this part. I think this is probably my favorite part of the issue. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I like a lot of the issue, but
this and the very last few panels are my favorite.
Yeah. Where he comes back to Darkseid and it's like mirrored, And and Darkseid asks, like, is it done? Superman tells him yes, and Darkseid says, you lie. And then Superman has this really awesome line that says, if it is a lie, then I've broken my word, and it is the truth. Then I've broken my word. He basically says, like, if I've lied, I've broken my word. If I did kill someone, I've also broken my word.
Basically, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And he says, either way, Darkseid, I have fallen and you have won.
Yep.
And that pleases Darkseid, and so he tells him where the girl is. And then we cut to Superman in Metropolis.
Yep. He's laying in bed with Lois, and there's a narration. Obviously, like, this is, at first I thought this was Darkseid again, but I was like, in the last issue, his talking bubbles and whatnot were a black and white, like all black with white.
Yeah, that's normally what his bubbles are.
And so I was like, okay, it can't be Darkseid. Obviously, he was in some kind of like illusion or something like that. In hindsight, it's more like I feel like this is what Superman is imagining in his head as he's being given this offer, because this is what this issue is called, or this part is called The Offer.
Yeah. This almost feels like, now you might not know what it is. It's both a comic called What Do You Give to the Man That Has Everything? It's a Superman comic, one shot written by Alan Moore, but it's also an episode of Justice League Unlimited, or I think it's just normal Justice League, the animated cartoon, called, it reminds me of this thing called the Black Mercy, which is a plant that gives you your heart's desire, but in return, it makes you comatose.
Gotcha.
Like, it gives you everything in your head.
Yeah. It reminds me of the movie Upgrade, if you've ever seen it.
Yes.
At the end where the chip, like,
Yeah.
gives him his ideal life, but he's no longer, like, home in his actual body. Yeah. But yeah, Superman, the narration is like, imagine getting ready for the day and you don't have to, like, rush to get dressed. You can take your time and all the...
You don't have to get into a phone booth.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
And, or, like, do weird twirls in the air on your way or whatever, you know?
Like, you go to the courthouse and you testify and you put Luthor away for life.
And you know, you feel bored being Superman, so you go to work as Clark. Yeah. And just... And then you go done. Yeah, you get your work done, and then you go meet friends for, like, lunch, and he's having, like, fucking McDonald's
with Superman or with Batman and Wonder Woman in Gotham.
And you laugh and you ask each other, why are you still wearing the costume?
Because there's no supervillains.
Yeah. And just and then really fucking weird was the panel where it's the one girl that passed away from a gunshot going off like a playground slide into this death trap looking fucking Brainiac fucking machine.
That's I think that's supposed to be the hint of, like, well, okay, something's not right here, obviously.
And then you take Lois for a date and watch the Earth set as they're on the moon, and she's, like, in a spacesuit and everything, and just, like, helping old folks cross the street and cats out of trees, like, very idyllic, very, you know.
And then, like, essentially it's like you go home, you get undressed, you have dinner, you reminisce about your childhood, and you go to sleep next to the woman you love. And he's like, can you imagine? And Superman is like, we cut to present day, actual Superman. He is beaten to ever living shit, chained up and imprisoned. And he's like, I can see it. I can imagine it. And the voice basically tells him, like, you know, if you give up, that could be yours.
Yep.
And Superman says, but I can also imagine Alice going home. So thank you for the offer, but I'm afraid I have to decline.
And he's just glaring at the reader, but I assume whoever's talking to him.
Yep. And then that brings us to our final issue, which I believe is called Questions and Answers. And we go straight. This is actual Earth. What is happening right now?
Yep.
And Batman says, Wonder Woman, they're here too. And it just shows Gotham City just in the skies just blotted out by numerous ships.
Yeah, alien ships.
And it turns out this person, or this villain, has been planning this. Now, I'm kind of jumping ahead. He explains this later on in the issue. But he essentially has been planning for years to invade Earth, and he's doing it because he's bored.
Yeah.
That there is no grand scheme. There is no motivation behind it. He was just a super rich fucking alien who had unlimited resources
and a lot of time
and just decided for like the last 3 years that he was just going to conquer the galaxy, the universe. And he wanted to start with Earth because everyone knows Earth
has all the heroes.
Has heroes on it. And they're the ones that protect other planets. And then he basically tells Superman, like, you know, you can struggle all you want, but those shackles on you are created to pull stars.
Yeah.
Like,
they're unbreakable.
Yeah, they're unbreakable.
And then you know what he does?
He breaks
them.
Because he's fucking Superman. Like, that's kind of the answer you get out of all of these issues of like, how did he win? Because he's Superman.
Yeah.
Like, he can do it.
Can at times feel a bit of a cop out. But again, this story is really hammering home like what Superman is, and that hope, at the end of the day, hope is undefeatable.
Yeah.
As long as you have hope, there is a way.
Yeah.
And that's what this story is really driving home.
Yeah. So we cut back to Earth, and the Justice League is all over the place.
They're fighting for their lives.
Yeah, fighting for their lives. Hawkman has been fighting for hours. Adam Strange is in Australia. You know, he's basically like, they can adapt and they evolve, and my Ranian weapons don't work on him anymore.
Yep.
Zatanna says like Magix is starting to not work on him, and Aquaman is like, you know, they're not only on land and in the sky, they're in the ocean.
Yeah.
Because the 7 seas are essentially saying like they're everywhere. And this villain basically shows Superman what's going on Earth right now and tells Superman, like, your planet's going to die.
Yeah.
And they're going to suffer because you're here.
And all the heroes are getting fucked up. You got
Swamp Thing,
Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, Flash. They're all getting just beat to shit, to be honest.
And at the same time, Superman is just taking on his own army by himself.
Well, at first he's fighting just a single robot thing.
And he beats it.
And the guy's like, you may have beaten one, but I have a lot more.
Yeah. And Superman takes them all on. And I really like this because he asks Superman about a bunch of questions, and he essentially says, like, you know, do you know, when he's trying to break the chains, he says, do you know what unbreakable means? And Superman says, no, sir, I do not. And then he tells Superman, this army was constructed with technology you cannot comprehend. It's faster than you, stronger than you, and smarter than you. It can stop you, Superman. And then he says, no, sir, it cannot. And then eventually he says, like, you know, you might have beaten one robot, but there is enough here. There is enough to defeat you, Superman. And then Superman says, no, sir, there are not.
Yep.
And it's fucking cool. Like Superman doesn't really like talk back.
Yeah. I really like the fact that, like, we are now seeing Superman. Obviously, like, he's always held strong to his conviction, but throughout this run, he's like, been tested and struggled with it. But this right here, this is Superman, full-heartedly believing in his own convictions and his own strength and his own indomitable will, and just is like, essentially, like, I've had enough. Yeah, like, it's time to fucking end this.
Yeah. And then we cut to Gotham, and Batman is essentially like, if there are any Justice League members still alive, like, they've got me outnumbered. I can't win. And for the first time, we see Batman ask for help.
Yeah. He's like, anyone, please respond. Anyone.
Yeah. As he's being taken down to the ground and fucking, I'm surprised he's not dead.
Yeah.
At this point. And then, you know, the evil mastermind. What's crazy is we never even get a name for this guy, which I'm not upset with.
No, I'm not,
because I don't need him to be this like grand revealed character.
I think it also really adds to his whole thing of like, I was just bored.
Yeah.
You know, so like we don't actually need a villain, like, because this was all just a whim of his anyway. And again, to like kind of show like Superman deals with some crazy shit on the daily. What's a bored alien trying to invade Earth, you know? Like, it's just another fucking Wednesday.
Yeah. So Superman is fighting this army, and the guy is essentially saying like, Superman, you will fall just like your friends on Earth. This crisis cannot be solved because you're basically away, and you will fall just like the rest of them. And Superman says, no, sir, I will not.
Yep.
And then we show the Justice League beaten and battered.
Yeah, you got Green Lantern, Nightwing, Shazam, and Supergirl.
Yeah. And then finally, Superman, he gets the upper hand on this villain and destroys basically like the control, the master control, and completely just stops everything. And he essentially says like, why are you here? Like, I planned this meticulously. Like, there's no reason why you should have even gotten here. I kidnapped her because I needed to imprint my technology with DNA to like adapt and to use technology, like the technology against you and all that kind of stuff. Like, she's worthless. She's a nobody.
He's like, I specifically picked her because there's no one
loves her.
Yeah, no one wants her. No one cares about her. She is worthless to human society. And Superman just, again, with that returning mantra that he's been saying, he just goes, no, sir, she is not. And I was like, okay, all right, we got a cool Superman over here. Yeah. All right.
It's cool, dude.
Yeah, it is.
And in Gotham, somehow Bruce Wayne, Batman, fucking survives. He fucking comes out of the wreckage, and slowly, one by one, all the Justice League members are reporting in, basically saying like, I'm here, Batman, blah, blah, blah. Like,
the robots just stopped.
Yeah, they stopped. And Wonder Woman is like, Batman, did we win? And Batman says, yes, we did. And she's like, how? I don't know. And then she thinks for a second, and Batman says like, they must have been defeated from wherever they came from. And Wonder Woman says, Clark. And Batman's like, yes. And she's sitting there like, how the fuck did he do that? And Batman just simply says, we were in need, and he's Superman.
And that goes to show just the level of respect Batman has for Superman.
Yep. Because they're best friends, not fucking enemies.
Yeah.
They will always be best friends.
But he's always got that backup plan.
Yeah. Just in case.
Just in case.
And then we cut to Alice, who is scared and alone and crying. And, you know, she says, no matter what happens, we can't give up. He wouldn't give up, so we won't either. He's coming, and I'm going home. And then Superman breaks through the wall and says, yes, ma'am, you are.
Yeah. And he basically gets her a spacesuit and on the way, and is like, if you have any questions on our way home, because it's going to take a while, I'll answer them.
Yeah.
And this is really kind of cute.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Because, like, it's what kids do.
Yeah. And it's also a nice, reset or refresh from all the tension.
Yeah. All the
action and stuff like that from, you know, the Justice League fighting and Superman fighting and everything like that. So it's nice, and it also really just warms you up to both the little girl and Superman. I don't think I would have had nearly the emotional impact at the very end if it wasn't for these scenes with them traveling back home.
Yeah.
You know, because it really gave the Alice a personality.
It did, yeah. And it really hits home that, you know, Superman is always there. He's always paying attention. He's always listening because he has an answer for everything. And it's, you know, and a lot of the questions are fucking funny. And she's like, how do you fly? And he's like, it's complicated.
Yeah. And she basically asked, like, do you fart? And that's how you fly, but you don't want to tell anyone.
I promise I won't tell anyone. And then they make a stop at the alien who had the illness or the disease. And Alice is like, you said we were just stopping for a second. Is this a second? And Superman and this alien are hugging each other. And then she says, why was he crying? And Superman says, sometimes people cry when they're happy. Mm-hmm. And she's like, was he happy? Or why was he happy? And Superman says, like, he was really sick. He thought he was going to die, but he didn't. And she essentially says, like, were you the one that found a cure for him? And he says, yes. And she said, was it really difficult? And he's like, it was, yes. And she asked, why did you help him? And Superman just says, because he needed it. Mm-hmm. And she says, don't you have other people to help? Don't other people need your help? And he says, they do. And she's like, are you going to help everyone? And he says, no, but I'm going to try.
Yep.
Which is like, again, that's been a running theme through this whole, like, you can't save everyone, but you need to try.
Yeah.
If you have the ability to do so, you should
do the right thing and try. Yeah. I again, this whole sequence with her and him traveling just really, it goes to show where Superman is at now with his convictions and everything compared to all his like doubt and worries before leaving Earth to go save Alice. And it also in a way kind of shows how worth it was to save her, because she's just this innocent girl. Yeah. She didn't ask for any of this crazy shit to happen. And it's super heartwarming.
Yeah. And then we get this really funny panel where she says, like, oh, if you and Batman fought, who would win? And Superman says, the Joker. Yeah. And then she's like, okay, but seriously, who would win? And Superman says, like, Batman. And she's like, but he doesn't have any powers. How would he win? And he just says, if you knew Batman, you would know it would make him really happy if he won. Yeah. And he says, he's been through a lot and he deserves to be happy. I like that.
I took this as maybe a jab at like Injustice.
Oh, 100%.
And like the
Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, like all the who would win in this fight, Superman or Batman. Yeah, like you said, Dark Knight Returns and all that stuff. And or like the whole Batman would always win because he's always got a plan. Yeah. Like that, he's got prep time.
Like, no, realistically, Superman would fucking win.
Dog walk him
100% of the time.
Yeah. But
because they're friends, like, of course Superman's going to let him win.
And this conversation also goes to show that, like, Superman has never really thought Batman as an enemy. Yeah. Like, he still doesn't think, like...
And he even says that, like, because Alice says, like, well, wouldn't you be sad if he won and you lost? And Superman says, I don't care about winning. Yeah. It's never been about that. And she says, like, well, what do you care about? Or why do you do this? And he basically tells her, like, because of you. Yeah. Like, I do this for you. Because it makes me happy. So, but yeah, no, I love that panel a lot.
Yeah, I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah. So they take a break and rest, and Superman basically tells her, like, I'm not going anywhere. I'll be right here by you this whole time.
Just go to sleep. I'll stay watch.
Yep. And then they run into this big alien pirate, and Superman essentially says, like, oh, this is Sparlick. He is a pirate, and he kills people, space travelers, and feeds on their souls and energy and stuff like that. And she's like, are you going to fight him? Or she's like, he sounds like a bad guy. And he's like, yeah. Are you going to fight him? Yeah. He's very big. Yeah. And she's like, are you scared? And he says, no. And then he beats him. Yeah. We don't see it. We don't see the fight, but he wins.
And then next we're in like this space diner. Yeah. Which... Whenever I see scenes like this in any kind of like science fiction like thing, my brain immediately goes like, it's like the Mos Eisley fucking cantina.
Yeah, essentially.
Wars. It's the hodgepodge of different aliens and stuff. And I love seeing that because it just, I don't know. It for whatever reason, I can't even put words to it. I love seeing it. And she's like looking at this fucking burger that's like got space worms in it and everything. And she's like turning her nose up at it. And Superman's essentially just like, you can't be afraid to try new things because sometimes it can be better than what you anticipated it to be.
Yeah. And I like that conversation too, because it starts out with with her asking him if he believes in God.
Yeah.
And Superman doesn't say yes or no. Yeah. He just says, well, my mom and dad believe in God.
And I believe in them.
Yeah.
So...
And, you know, then he gets onto the topic of faith, and basically like what you said is like, you have to have faith to try new things.
Yeah.
Like you can't be opposed to everything.
And from like a writing perspective, I can see why, I can see why he would give this answer, but I can also see keeping Superman kind of like vague on the religious thing.
You want to, but I do know, like, it's funny deep down inside. I'm like, Superman fucking believes in God because God's an actual character in the DC universe. He's called the One. He's not like I agree with you. I like that it's kept ambiguous that Superman does not pick a side because he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, because Superman doesn't care in a sense. Like, he doesn't care.
He just cares about humanity.
Yeah. He just cares about life in general.
Yeah.
But as funny as it is, God does exist in the DC universe, so he would 100% be like, "Oh, mom and pa were fucking right. He has been to heaven."
Yeah,
he went to heaven to go save his dad's soul.
I mean, to be fair, it's kind of like in Marvel, where it's like technically heaven and hell exist because you have like characters like Mephisto
and the Beyonder.
Like technically heaven and technically. Yeah. To be fair, at least from what I know, in Marvel, technically all religions
That's how it is
exist.
In DC.
Yeah.
Like in DC and Marvel, all of them are correct.
Yeah. They're all the right one. Yeah.
I mean, some of them are fucking aliens. Like Asgardians.
I was going to say, look at that travesty that was Love and Thunder movie. Like, you see all the pantheons there. So, and then, I mean, you have, like, the Moon Knight show. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, all the Egyptian gods are real. So, which I think is, for writing, super smart to do. It's like,
because no one's considered right.
Either make none of them real or make them all real.
I agree.
Don't pick and choose.
So yeah, I really love that page. That page is great. And then we get to, I think, is the one of the funniest lines, but also
Lex.
Well, no.
Okay.
That is the funniest line, but I think one of the best lines is, "Who is your favorite Robin?" And Superman says, "I like all of them." And she goes, "Come on."
Like, be real.
Yeah. And then Superman goes, "I like the first one. Yeah. He's a friend of mine." Which is fucking awesome because Nightwing gets his superhero name from Superman because Nightwing was a superhero on Krypton.
Oh, really?
Yep. And when Dick Grayson was trying to pick his new superhero name, he went to Superman for advice, and Superman told him a story about the hero known as Nightwing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And so that's where Nightwing gets his name. It's from Kryptonian mythology.
Who's your favorite Robin?
Nightwing. Dick Grayson is my favorite. He's the best one. Okay. He's my third favorite superhero.
Okay. All right.
So I'm going to assume you like Jason Todd.
Let's move on. Yeah.
Everyone has a favorite Robin.
Yeah.
None of them is Damian.
To be fair, well, because Damian's just a little prick, but
he's gotten better.
To be fair, like, I don't know enough about all the Robins to really.
Yeah.
I only really know about Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. Yeah. So,
well, we'll eventually read more about the other Robins as we go through.
I have read a little bit of the Nightwing like solo stuff they had not too long ago.
The one written by Tom Taylor?
I think I'd have to look at it to be 100%.
Because the Tom Taylor run is probably the best run of
Guess
Nightwing
it's gonna
ever.
storm.
I was about to say, sorry if you guys heard that right outside my house. We just heard a
massive thunder.
I thought a car just got rammed into, but I guess it's thunder.
I guess it's storming.
So back to this, but yeah, we'll eventually read Tom Taylor's run of Nightwing. So back to this. Then we cut to, Mason kind of already hinted at it, the funniest line in the whole comic, which is, "Do you really make Lex Luthor bald?" And Superman says, "That's what he thinks." And then she says, "And that's why he hates you?" He says he hates me because I show the world the limitations of humanity, but it's really the bald thing. And Superman says, yeah probably.
And I just love the idea that the real reason Lex has such a fucking hard on for Superman is that he made him bald.
Yeah, which is another golden age thing that happened. Because I don't know if I explained this in a previous Superman episode, but the original reason for Lex Luthor not liking Superman in the olden times, pre-crisis, was because Superman gifted Lex Luthor a science lab, and Superman was trying to help him with an experiment and fucked it up and got chemicals on Lex Luthor, and it made his hair catch on fire, and that caused him to go bald. And from that day forward, Lex Luthor swore to defeat Superman or destroy Superman.
So in actuality, he only hates Superman because he's bald.
Yeah, probably.
I love it. I love it. That is the type of silliness that I think just fits the Superman universe.
Yeah.
It genuinely does. But yeah.
They end up having more conversations, and they talk about Green Arrow, and she's like, so he's just Batman but with a bow.
Yeah.
And does that really make any sense? Superman's like, if it makes sense to him, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
He's my friend.
He helps. He saves people, and that's all I can really ask.
Yeah. And then
they talk about Lois.
When they get to Earth's atmosphere, they talk about Lois, and she says, have you ever been scared? And Superman says, there's this woman, she's very special to me, and I liked her, and she was smart and kind, and she was beautiful, and I really wanted to ask her out. And Alice is like, well, what did you do? And he says, I did just that. I asked her.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, did she know you were scared? And Superman basically says,
oh, she knew.
I didn't have to. She knew.
Yeah.
And then they get to basically this new foster home, and Superman is like, they're going to take really good care of you here, Alice. You're going to be happy. And, if you ever need anything, you just call for me and I will be right there for you. And she says, okay. And Superman, he smiles and he says, do you have any other questions for me? And she's like, oh, you thought there was going to be more.
Yeah.
And then Superman says, you always surprise me.
Yeah. And then she goes on to say, I bet you thought you'd ask why did you go for me? Why did you come and save me? Go through all that to come and save me. And she's like, I don't need to ask that because I already know the answer. And Superman's like, oh, you do? And she's simply just says, yeah, it's not hard. It's just you're Superman.
Yep. And then the final page is Superman and Alice hugging, and that's the end of the story.
Yep. And that, I'm not going to lie, when I first read it, that choked me up a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, he's Superman.
He doesn't need a reason to help people.
Nope, he doesn't. And that's going to be one of the only Superman stories I like. So
I'm sure we can find more, but I think this was just perfect in a sense. It's simple. It's very to the point, yet the message behind each story is really nice.
Yeah.
And inspiring, for lack of a better term. And
it really fits too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you read something and they try to do an underlying message, either they go too far one direction where it's not implied enough, or it's hitting you over the head with a hammer. I think this was just perfectly right there where it needed to be, where
strikes a balance.
It was exactly fitting for the Superman story, and the way it was delivered was perfectly well done as well. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel like it wasn't sitting there being this is how you should be feeling about Superman.
Yeah.
It was just this is him. This is his character. Yeah. You will feel about this character how you feel about it, but this is him at his core.
Yeah. And even at its lowest point, because I definitely will say the Sergeant Rock portion of the story was the weakest.
Yeah.
Even at its weakest, it still was really good.
I never once was oh my gosh, okay, I gotta keep reading this. You know what I mean? I was I was eagerly ready to read each issue.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I don't know. It's an easy read as well.
Yeah.
It's not long. It's 6 issues.
I think it took me maybe 35 minutes or something to read.
Yeah, it's super easy to read. And that's not a slight against Tom King. Like his writing was perfect on this story. It was great. Andy Kubert's art was just knock out of the ballpark, amazing. Like great work all around by both of them. I don't know. It was very good. It makes me really excited to do Batman Universe. Yeah. Which was basically like the companion to this. Like it's not the same story.
Right.
But was a part of the same initiative.
Where they did the swap.
Because I really want to see your opinion on that, because that's also considered by a lot of fans to be one of the best Batman stories ever written.
I mean, I'm eager to give it a try. I almost would say this, if you wanted to get someone into Superman,
this is it.
This would be the book, more than like any of the origin stories or anything like that. Because while yes, it has references to things in the past, as someone who doesn't understand those references, not once did I feel hindered by that. Yeah. And I think it also goes to show how not revealing a villain actually really worked too. Because if they revealed a villain, my thought would be like, okay, has he shown up in the past? Is he like an ongoing villain? Like, what's his deal? But just knowing that kind of the point wasn't the villain.
Yeah, it was the journey and Superman's like who he is as a person.
Yeah,
that's the point. That's the challenge.
I think that makes this almost more approachable for a new reader than like Secret Origin, or maybe like any of the origin stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think this is where I would start someone if they were like, I don't know who Superman is.
Which I find would be hard. You would be hard pressed to find someone like that. But I think you would also be hard pressed to find someone who hasn't been somewhat influenced by like Snyder and like the Injustice stuff, because I like the Injustice storyline.
I do too. I love Injustice.
I just think it's overplayed.
That's the issue, is like I love Injustice, but that's because Injustice did it first.
Yeah.
Like I don't like any of the other stuff.
Yeah.
And plus, it's like it's an alternate universe.
Yeah.
Like I don't
not even canon.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about it being in the real timeline.
Yeah.
So that's why I like it. It's one of those few cases where I think multiverse stuff is really cool.
Yeah.
Where it's all self-contained and its own thing.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I like the alternate universe stuff. Like, it's why I recently, I think like a month and a half ago, so quote unquote recent for me, I had watched what is it, Gotham and Gaslight or something like that.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed that.
It was very good.
I thought it was very good, and I just like those alternate realities and stuff. That's why I liked Injustice. But now I'm kind of at the point where like I liked it because the subversion. Mm-hmm. But now the subversion has almost become the expectation because of all the iterations of things that we've been doing. Yeah. And so it's lost a little bit of that charm, at least for the whole, like, the evil sides of characters and stuff. But, I mean, I'm down to see more stuff that's, like, different times. You know, like...
You might be happy to hear, then, that they've been doing sequels to Gotham by Gaslight these past couple years. Yeah. They just recently finished Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're about to come out with Gotham by Gaslight, A League for Justice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to dive more into that because I've only seen the movie. But
we might cover that. That it's definitely on the list of like most popular Batman stories. So like of course we have to cover it at some point. So don't worry, it's definitely on the list. I'm happy that you really enjoyed this story.
Yeah, I liked teasing that I didn't like it because I knew I was gonna get a reaction out of you.
Yeah, it's good that you liked it too, since this is gonna be coming out when the movie comes out.
Yeah,
so it's like, oh, thank God that we both really like this story.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know if the Superman movie's any good. I mean, again, I'll probably go see it at some point. Or wait till it comes out on streaming services or whatever. But while I did like this book and it did help Superman's influence in my eyes, I still don't necessarily care about the character.
But you don't have to be a Superman fan.
No, I get that. But I always like to kind of reflect and see if a comic we read changes my thoughts on who we're reading about. And while I do see Superman in a better light and start to kind of see like where the fandom comes from for fans that like are really big fans of Superman, I can see it. I understand the vision.
Yeah.
But it's just
it's not for you.
Yeah, it just don't resonate with me, and maybe that's because I'm a fucking edgelord or some shit like that. I don't know. I liked it though. All in all, everything said, tangents aside, I liked the book.
Yeah. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And all that matters is that you enjoyed it. All that matters is that you had fun recording. That's all that matters.
It was good to be back.
Yeah, for real. We apologize for the long hiatus. Again, we had a lot of personal life busyness to get through,
and some technical difficulties.
Oh man, yeah, we had an issue with the one of the new episodes getting corrupted, and I had to basically start from scratch. But all that stuff is figured out, so it is all going to get uploaded here soon. Like I said, we do already have another Superman and the Ultimate X-Men by Peach Momoko recorded and done. It's just those are going to get uploaded after Superman.
Yeah.
We are also going to try and do Fantastic Four for the Fantastic Four movie coming out.
Yeah.
Our schedules are still a little bit packed, especially Mason's, because he is moving pretty soon.
Yeah.
And he needs all the time he can to get all
get
that done.
ready.
Yeah. And so I don't want to interfere with that. So we might come out with a Fantastic Four episode, but it might be after the movie.
Yeah.
So
it'll be within a decent time frame of it if we do it, which I'm all for doing.
Awesome. Well, that is all from me. Do you have anything else you would like to say?
Nope. I've done enough long-winded things this episode, so I'm good.
Well, all right. This has been Comics with Friends, the bi-weekly podcast where two best buds get together and surprisingly talk about a book that they both liked.
Yeah.
I have been your host, Ethan, joined by my best bud and co-host, Mason, and we are signing off. You guys have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Up and away.